The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And a happy Monday morning to you. Welcome into the Wicked Weed studio. I'm Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, alongside, as always, check out our friends at wickedweedbrewing.com. Wicked Weed Brewing, drink different.
We were on time today, bitches.
That's right. First time for everything. Just like first time for a 24-year-old to win two majors that he just first competed at. Colin Morikawa winning the Open Championship. Jeremy, no, don't play him. He's not the guy this week. And lo and behold, he goes 15 under at Royal St. George and wins the Open Championship. And poor old Louis Oosthuizen, he can't keep a lead. This is what now, 6 rounds that he has led in majors in the past 3 months, and he just can't hold on to the lead.
Poor Louis, he can't figure it out.
He's now one of 8 golfers all time to finish second at all 4 majors. I quizzed Jeremy on this one earlier today. He did pretty well. I had to give you Jack Nicklaus, which was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, because I thought he had won so many that he wouldn't pertain to that.
He wouldn't have finished in second place at all of the majors. And then, Craig Wood was on that list. I don't know who the hell that is, but
no, I don't know who that is.
Some dude born in 1901. Anyway, Louis, it was disappointing, but I mean, how do you go at a mindset of I have been so close in all of these majors and have not gotten it done? Does that start to fuck with you when you're on the golf course? You're a golfer.
Say that again?
Like when if you're in Louis' place and you've been this close in all of these tournaments, does that start to fuck with you?
Yeah. I mean, for lack of a better word, yeah.
Right.
You just get to a point where you're like, can I not win one of these, damn it? I mean, I'm here every freaking time, but I just cannot close it.
Yeah.
Much like the Phoenix Suns.
Oh, we had to go there. You had to go there. The Phoenix Suns, of course, losing Game 5. They're now down 3-2 to the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Finals. And it just fell apart once again. I mean, it's wild to see a team get up by 16 and then get down by 14 and then crawl back from that and then blow it in the final seconds. Drew Holiday saying, look, I was just in the right place at the right time. Devin Booker turned around with that ball.
Yep.
I just snatched it away from him.
Yeah, Bucks and 6. I tried to tell you.
You did.
I'm going to keep telling you.
You did.
Until tomorrow night when I'm right.
And tomorrow night, the atmosphere is going to be insane down in the Deer District. They are going to be all over that as they got a chance to do something that they haven't done since way before I was born. And that's, to me, that's saying something. Today we're going to get into the AFC South, best worst case scenarios for the Tennessee Titans, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, and of course the lowly Houston Texans as we continue all of the best worst case scenarios for each and every division. This will be the last division, and of course all those individual team videos coming out on the Sportsocracy playlist here. So be sure to hit that subscribe button so you know when all of our content comes out. Did you get a chance, though, to actually sit down and watch the Open, or did you forget about it like I did?
No, I didn't forget about it. I just saw how it was going very, very early on. I felt like it was going to be Colin Morikawa if he didn't just doo-doo in his pants, and he didn't.
Very rare that you see a guy that young have that kind of prowess, that kind of poise under pressure. He's an
incredible kid.
He's a very special dude. I mean, I saw the stat that when he was at Stanford, he played in 47 tournaments. He won 5 of those. So far now in his PGA career, he has played 50 tournaments, and he has won 5 of them.
When he can putt, he's damn near impossible to beat because there's nobody on earth that's a better irons player than Morikawa is.
Right.
And he showed it yesterday. He got in trouble one time and just drops a perfect shot off the green to 5 feet, knocks it in, away we go.
Yep.
Once he got up there, there was nothing that anybody was going to do to catch him. It was going to be, could he just sustain and keep the blow up from happening?
Mm-hmm. I heard his caddy talking about, how links golf doesn't really play into his game because he's not terribly long off the tees. But when he can strike a
that's why I didn't like him going into this week.
Right.
I didn't think he was long enough off the tee. Well, when you're dropping iron shots like that,
right,
it doesn't really freaking matter.
And that was what he was saying. When he can hit a 6 iron as accurately as most guys can hit a 9, then yeah, you feel pretty good about his game. And 15 under was good enough to get it done yesterday. Jordan Spieth finishing in second, 13 under par. John Rahm, Louis Oosthuizen finished tied for third. In the last few majors, there have been a very short list of guys who have finished over Louis Oosthuizen. Mm-hmm. Phil Mickelson, John Rahm, Colin Morikawa, and Jordan Spieth.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I
feel like that's a pretty damn little group to be included in.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I just wonder if, does Louis is he going to get the recognition that he deserves because of this? Or is this now going to be something that's hung over his head as the guy who can't win?
No, we have somebody like this in every generation. Mm-hmm. It's Phil all over again. Phil was the guy forever that couldn't close majors.
Yep.
Tom Watson was that guy back in the late Jack Arney times and in the before Tiger times.
Right.
There's always been somebody like this. Now it's Louis, which is unfortunate because he's so damn likable. And I want him to win. It's just every time on Sunday. And here, there's a very simple reason as to why. The setup on Sunday's harder. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he's just not very long off the tee kills him. Then just a couple errant shots, you drop a stroke or two. It's really hard for him to score on those long setups. And that's what happens. The game's just not equipped for Sunday golf.
Yeah.
And you wind up just continuously losing shit like this.
Mm-hmm. So what's the next big thing in golf? What's the next big tournament?
It'll be the schedule.
It's just the playoffs?
Yeah, it'll be the FedEx Cup, so you'll have the PGA in that.
Yeah.
The schedule's all fucked up.
Well, and I guess Ryder Cup is the next big thing.
Oh, and I like Ryder Cup a lot. That's one of my favorite things we do.
And when is that?
It'll be the end of next month. Or no. We got the Olympics. So the Ryder Cup will be in September.
Oh, okay. So it's a ways away.
Yeah, you still got a little bit of time.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Anyhow, it was, I wished I'd have seen the end of it. By the time we got back for the football game yesterday, as soon as I started to turn it on, I got the alert on my phone that Colin Morikawa had finished out the win at at the Open Championship. He caught a little bit of flack for calling it the British Open in his post game. It was hilarious.
I'm sure he did.
They're such sticklers for calling it the right thing.
Yeah.
NBA Finals, those are over. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, obviously, with Game 6 coming up in Milwaukee tomorrow night. You can't ask any more from Devin Booker, though. I mean, the last 2 games, scoring over 40 points. What else can you expect from this team? It's just Milwaukee was better on paper coming in, and they have stepped up to the challenge. They have proven that they are the best team.
They're the far superior team.
They're the far superior team.
Here's the thing: in the finals, mm-hmm. stars win the day. The star of these finals is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yes,
he has 2 finals moments in 2 games: the block in Game 4, mm-hmm. the oop dunk in Game 5. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow, good God, Milwaukee's going to be a zoo. If you're in Milwaukee, get the hell out of Milwaukee because it's going to be ridiculous.
Kevin Vick asked in the comments, am I the only person who isn't even marginally interested in the Olympics? No, you're not.
You got at least one more because I'm right there with you. Just don't give a cheat.
Yeah, the Olympics open up on Friday, and the basketball starts on Sunday, I think I saw. I think, Team USA got a little bump from their win over Spain last night.
Yeah, you should still be very nervous.
Well, I mean, Spain is the other team that is expected to be in that gold medal game with us, and they took care of business last night against Spain. And I don't even know what that was. It just another exhibition game? Pool play starts on Sunday. So, I mean, the basketball, I'm going to be interested in everything. It's just the run-up to the Olympics, to me, I don't care. Just put the product out there. I don't care about the run-up and the trials and all that kind of shit. Just get me going.
Just go!
And it's going to happen. It's going to happen on Friday as the Olympics get underway. Another big thing happens in the sports world today, or this week, excuse me, as NFL training camps open up. We get the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys starting up on Wednesday. My Buccaneers start up on Friday. So we're going to be looking forward to that. We'll have all of your fantasy football content getting you geared up for the season, beginning pretty much every day starting tomorrow. We're going to be rolling all this out now that we've gone through all of the best worst-case scenarios for each and every team. Now it's time to focus on making you some money. So fantasy football is going to be hot and heavy on this program coming up for the foreseeable future until we have actual football to talk about. Now, another thing that happened over the weekend, and I don't know that you even paid attention to this or even aware, but I feel like we would be remiss if we did not say, shit's getting weird in NASCAR.
Yeah.
Things are getting really interesting in NASCAR because Eric Almirola won at New Hampshire. He's now the 13th individual driver to win. That means there are only 3 spots left in the open of the playoffs.
For guys that don't win races.
Right.
They also just let them drive. It's raining, fuck it. And just...
Whee! But what I'm more interested in is now I want to see the chaos. I'm always interested in chaos, and we could have chaos here because if they have 3 more individual winners over the next several weeks, that could mean guys like if Denny Hamlin doesn't get a win, if Kevin Harvick doesn't get a win, these guys could be left out. And they're, second and third or third and fourth, something like that in the points right now. But they don't have any wins.
Hamlin's in first.
Hey, is Hamlin still in first?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hamlin's in first and might not make the playoffs, which is, by the way, stupid.
It's stupid. I always feared this was going to happen when they came up with the you win and you get into the playoffs.
Yeah, because
we could get into a scenario like this.
Bell and Michael McDowell.
Woohoo! And now Eric Almirola, who was 27th in points coming into this weekend. He wins. Now he has an automatic playoff berth. There are only 3
top
spots.
10s before this.
Yeah. Woohoo! There are only 3 spots left open, and Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, and Tyler Reddick, I think, would be your last 3 as far as points are concerned. And there's a very small window between Tyler Reddick and Austin Dillon. That's going to be a fun chase down the stretch. We're not going to talk any more about it. I just thought we needed to bring that up because it's got the chance to make all kinds of chaos.
And it also gives me what happened yesterday with the restart. It's raining. I cannot say this enough times. Learn what a damn rain tire is. For the love of shit, why is this so hard? We can do it with cars on every road in the world. F1 can do it with cars that go 478 miles an hour. Get some windshield wipers. Maybe a headlight that's not a sticker.
Yeah.
And some are damn rain tires.
Sports is the place where they just haven't learned how to deal with rain very well. Because we saw yet again, because baseball does weird things. And the Saturday night game between the Red Sox and the Yankees was probably one of the weirdest things I'd ever seen. They pushed back the start of the game because it was going to rain. And then it didn't rain. And as soon as they started the game, it started raining. It rained for a solid hour and a half. And they played 6 innings until they finally couldn't play anymore. And then, of course, in that stretch, somebody threw a baseball and hit Alex Verdugo from the stands with a baseball. And Alex Cora pulled the players off the field. There were some words said between Alex Verdugo and said fan after that incident. He has now been banned, by the way, by Major League Baseball. Not saying who he is though. I mean, I'm kind of shocked by that. At this point, you would think now in today's society, when somebody does something wrong, their name's going to get out there at some point, and they're going to be mocked and scorned and all of that. That hasn't happened. But don't throw things at baseball games.
Don't throw things at people, period. Why is it so hard?
It shouldn't be that hard. Anyhow, anything else hanging out from the weekend that we need to touch on before we get into football?
I'd be remiss if I didn't say Bucks and 6.
Wow, winning.
Indeed. Best worst case.
When in doubt, stick with the mullet.
Best worst case scenarios in the AFC South this year. Starting out with the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans, obviously, with the big move to get Julio Jones to come in. And now they have two legitimate threats on the outside between Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. We expect Ryan Tannehill's not really going to, he's going to continue to be serviceable. I wouldn't say he's great, but he's serviceable. And then, of course, Derrick Henry's going to be running over people all year long. The Tennessee Titans have a real chance to win this division, and they should win it by a game or two.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but best case scenario for the Tennessee Titans, wrath of the Titans.
That's right. The wrath of the Titans. The big question is, can they overcome the loss of Arthur Smith?
That's what, if anything scares me, it's that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love the defense. I think you overpaid Bud Dupree. I don't necessarily love the defense, but it's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
When you have A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, who I think are two of the 12 best receivers in the NFL, Bud Dupree's going to be able to get after quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I still love Jeffrey Simmons up front.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in love with the secondary. I'm in like with it. Kind of all hinges on Caleb Farley for me.
I would agree with that. I think you're putting a lot of eggs into that basket. Hoping that Caleb Farley doesn't have any injury issues or any recurring things from the back surgery that he had. You're putting a lot of eggs into that basket. So, other than that, Christian Fulton, he's pretty good, but he's not a superstar.
He's a slot guy.
Right.
That's all he is. My thing with Tennessee is that you're hinging on a lot of people to be better than I think they are.
Okay.
I thought Farley was a little overhyped coming into the draft, and it bore itself out.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't all the injury that pushed him down. And I don't love Bud Dupree, but at the end of the day, you're going to be able to run the ball. You have two really good wide receivers. I'm just really curious to see how much of a step back Tannehill takes without Arthur Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Arthur Smith's the mad scientist that made this whole offense work because he put Tannehill in the best position to succeed. And I don't know that that's going to continue to happen to the same level. I think it will still be good.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know that it will be as good. I think very highly of Arthur Smith.
But promoting from within, like they did with the offensive coordinator position, promoting Todd Downey from the tight ends coach, I expect he is going to run that Arthur Smith system.
It's not the system.
Okay. It's not the system.
It's not. Arthur Smith is, I think, one of the 8 smartest offensive guys in the NFL.
Okay.
There's going to be a step back in day-to-day play calling, all of the things. There's just no way that there's not. The chances that you have another guy that smart on your staff are very slim. So there's going to be a regression. It's just a question of how much does it regress. There's a reason that damn near every team with an opening wanted to talk to Arthur Smith.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a question of how much does it regress. And I don't think it's going to be much. I think they're actually going to be a better passing offense than they were last year.
I do too.
Julio Jones to Corey Davis. You took a step forward. It's not as much of a step as everybody thinks it is. I don't think Julio Jones is that much better than Corey Davis right now. Injury prone.
Right.
32 years old. And he was very much Julio Jones was never a route tactician anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He was just freak athletic. Well, that's not going to age particularly well. So I understand why you did it. I think it will be fine. I have some hesitations.
Best case scenario, though, I mean, Derrick Henry runs for another 2,000 yards. You're able to have that, Ryan Tannehill still be super efficient. His efficiency numbers the last year and a half are just insane. I mean, efficiency-wise, there are stats that say he's better than Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, there's something to be said for that. Right.
They don't ask him to do much. Mm-hmm. He's mobile. He's very good, very good play-action passer, one of the best play-action passers in the league.
Right.
So, it's just a question of, did Arthur Smith make Ryan Tannehill, or did he, I don't even know the phrase, did he figure something out getting away from Adam Gase? Right. Or was Adam Gase just absolutely the problem?
And your answer would be?
I don't think it's all Adam Gase. I don't think Ryan Tannehill's this guy. I think it helps that you've had two very good receivers, mm-hmm. a good tight end, mm-hmm. a running back that just is obliterating the league, and I think all of those things have played into your favor. Now, here's the thing: you still have all of that. It's just a question of, how does Todd Downing move you forward?
Except for the whole tight end part.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think Anthony Firkser that much worse than Jonnu Smith.
Right.
I don't. I don't think there's that huge of a drop-off. Mm-hmm. Because the tight end in that system is meant to do one thing: get into the open spot in the middle of the defense, because A.J. Brown's the guy that scares you. Now you got Julio Jones on the other side that scares you. And you can't not stack the box because they got Derrick Henry back there. Mm-hmm. So you put 5 or 6 in the box, and they're going to eat you alive. It's what Jacksonville does constantly. Mm-hmm. Which is why Derrick Henry eats them alive on a frequent basis.
Worst case scenario for the Tennessee Titans. Remember the Titans? We're going with movie themes here.
Oh, well.
You changed it.
I did. You never said it, but I've already done it. Lightning doesn't strike twice.
Oh, okay.
My fear is that Todd Downing will be fine. I think he'll be serviceable as an offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. But I think it's the Microsoft theory. Microsoft runs itself. You could jump in as any idiot could run that company for about 18 months, and nobody would notice the difference. But then, when you start making decisions and your decisions start coming home to roost, mm-hmm. then you would see the regression. That's going to be my fear. Because fact or fiction, is there any chance they're the 4th highest scoring offense in the league next year?
Yeah.
I'm going to say no. I don't think they can be.
Really?
No, I mean, look at the schedule. Look how many good defenses are on the schedule. I think that Arizona defense is going to be good. Indianapolis mm-hmm. is good. The Jets are going to be improved. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville is going to be improved. Then you go Buffalo, Kansas City, Indianapolis again, the Rams. That New Orleans defense people seem to buy into. Mm-hmm. I'm not necessarily one of them, but New England, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Miami. That's like, I think I just said 8 of the 10 best defenses in the NFL.
There are quite a few of them, yeah.
I just don't think you're that. I also don't necessarily think defensively you're going to be bottom quarter of the league. I think you're middle of the league. Mm-hmm. I'd say you're back into the top 10 offensively, middle of the road defensively, and I think that's probably good enough. Worst case scenario, I think their worst case is probably 10-7.
I would say that's
because you're going to beat the Jets, you're going to beat Jacksonville twice, you're going to beat Houston twice. Mm-hmm. I would say you beat New Orleans. I would say you beat New England. That Pittsburgh game is hard for me to say you're going to win. I would say you're going to split with San Francisco and Miami, split with Arizona, Seattle. I don't see a path that's less than 9. And even that's I'm picking nits to the highest extreme.
Right.
I would say this team finishes 10-7 to 12-5.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to win the division, but they could.
I think they could definitely win this division.
I did.
Their offense is so much better, I believe, than Indianapolis's offense. That's the difference maker. I have come around on this. I tried to, get on the Indianapolis Colts bandwagon. I would love to have seen them get somebody, get another target for Carson Wentz. But as it lays right now on paper, to me, Tennessee is at the top of this division.
It's them and it's them and the Colts.
Yes.
There is a huge line of demarcation between those teams and everybody else. So
there's no doubt about that. But worst case scenario, Arthur Smith's absence affects Ryan Tannehill. Obviously, Ryan Tannehill and the passing game not being clicking on all cylinders, that will affect
I think there's a
Derrick
regression
Henry.
back to what they were 2 years ago, not what they were last year.
And on the defensive side of the ball, you still can't get to the quarterback.
And I would say and I'm kind of speaking out of both sides of my mouth here. I think the offense regresses to what it was 2 years ago. I think the defense improves to what it was 2 years ago. And, that team was 9-7.
Yeah.
I think this team will be 10-7, 11-6, 12-5, somewhere right in there.
Mm-hmm. I could agree with you on all accounts, but all in all, I think it's going to be a hell of a successful season for the Tennessee Titans. And this is a team that you just don't want to match up against because they can beat you in so many ways.
Well, you get 4 wins for being clinically alive. Those are called the Texans and the Jaguars.
Right. Such is the glory of being in the AFC South. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene, and we are live in the Wicked Weed studio. Don't forget to check out our friends at wickedweedbrewing.com. Wicked Weed Brewing, drink different. The Indianapolis Colts have Carson Wentz. They have now reunited Frank Reich and Carson Wentz, and those who are on the rosier side of this whole Carson Wentz thing are, me too, that the Philadelphia Eagles just couldn't give Carson Wentz what he needed to be successful. There were too many injuries. He didn't have the weapons. His offensive line was murdered by injuries, and therefore he couldn't hold on to the football, couldn't be accurate, was always running for his life. Those are all things that are shored up now with the Indianapolis Colts. They have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. They have young weapons. Whether or not they're healthy is a big question mark. T.Y. Hilton needs a bounce back. Michael Pittman came on at the end of last year. We expect him to be really good. He was one of the guys that Jeremy fell in love with in the draft last year. Paris Campbell can't stay on the field. If that can change, this could be a dangerous offense. And I didn't even mention Jonathan Taylor at the running back position.
Rob Johnson said it in the comments. There is a path that Wentz gets back to former form. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Taylor has a Derrick Henry level season, and the Colts win the division.
You think he can get up to 2,000 yards?
Extra game. There's not a lot in between him and workload. I saw a lot to really like last year. Plus, and let's just be honest, Carson Wentz is just markedly better than Phillip Rivers.
Right.
Everybody seems to forget the 3 years he had before last year. Mm-hmm. He had some injury issues. I get it. He would have been the MVP of the damn league with this coach as his coach.
Yep.
Which is why best case scenario for the Colts, reunited, and it feels so good.
Carson Wentz being back with an organization that he trusts, being with a coach that he trusts. He didn't feel like he got all the support he needed last year. Obviously, after the Jalen Hurts scenario, there was all the discussion of summer in Hurts camp, summer in Wentz camp. Now, the controversy didn't really start until after he was bad. So it wasn't like it was an immediate thing. But those discussions started really early last year. And I think that's got a lot to do with his mental state and his ability to play the game of football. I've always seen Carson Wentz as a very emotional creature. And if things aren't going well, then that obviously has an impact on how he plays on the football field.
Absolutely. I just think being in a more stable organization, because let's face it, the Eagles right now are a fucking dumpster fire. You come to this team, the Colts are, I would say, one of the more consistent teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
You get here where there's stability. The line is exponentially better. I don't necessarily love the weapons. I've always had reservations about Paris Campbell. We all know I love Michael Pittman, but I think the weapons are average. Let's face it, best years in Philadelphia, weapons were average. A lot of Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson. Those are not high-level weapons. I don't think he has to have that. Jonathan Taylor's also the best running back he's ever played with, and it's not even debatable.
Yeah.
I would also say this might be the best defense he's ever had. The question is, can Carson Wentz do what Ryan Tannehill did? Get into a new system and just find the you don't have to do too much. Mm-hmm. I don't think he has to be 30 touchdown, 7 interception guy. I don't. I think he needs to be 20 touchdown, 7 interception guy. And just hold on to the ball. Don't beat yourself. And let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah. Also, best case scenario on the defensive side of the ball, just, I don't know, rinse and repeat. Is that kind of how you would put it for the defense? They were very good last year, and this year I think they're going to be even more so. And they added to it in the draft with Kwity Paye. I know he wasn't your favorite, but
I just don't know where he plays. I'm still at the. I still don't know where he plays. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of, but I like him on this defense. You put that much talent around the guy. I mean, I get DeForest Buckner and Darius Leonard around me. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because you're not going to be able to focus on me at any given time.
Right.
So of all the places he could go, that's where I had him the entire time, and that's where I liked him the best. And at the end of the day, I refuse to believe that this team is not better with Carson Wentz than Phillip Rivers. I think the defense is still consistent. And I don't think the schedule did you too many disservices. I mean, it'll be really honest. The last 4 games of the year, you played New England, at Arizona, the Raiders, and at the Jaguars.
It was all winnable games.
That's 3 wins at the very least, I believe. You get New England coming off you're coming off a bye, and you get, I'm fine with that. You're either going to be playing against Mac Jones or Cam Newton. I like your chances.
It is going to be a pretty rough start for them in this year, though. They start off with Seattle, and Seattle's always a tough team to play against.
I like them a lot against Seattle.
But they're playing at home.
And then you got L.A., West Coast coming east. Mm-hmm. I think that's 2 wins.
Okay.
The problem for me is that then you go 4 out of 5 road games, Tennessee, Miami, Baltimore, San Francisco, with one little Houston Texan turd in the middle of that.
Bye week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then immediately after you come back from San Francisco, you got to play Tennessee. That's a hell of a first 7 games of the season. The challenges are laid before the Indianapolis Colts, no doubt, but I feel like they will be able to rise to the challenge. I think Carson Wentz being reunited with Frank Reich is the best thing that could have happened to him. Again, I believe he's, like I said, an emotional creature, and having that relationship with Frank Reich was something that definitely spurred him when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles and made that run to the eventual Super Bowl for the team, and hopefully he can stay healthy this year. Now, the worst case scenario for the Indianapolis Colts is that they just can't get it done. Carson Wentz doesn't reclaim anything. He still is, injury prone. He is still running for his life, which I don't really see how that's going to happen barring injury. But he can't hold on to the football. He's not hitting his targets. The targets don't ever really mature. Michael Pittman's the lone star out of this entire group, and you can't lean on offensive production on one man.
Worst case scenario for the Indianapolis Colts, horses never get out of the barn. There is a path to that because I don't love T.Y. Hilton at this point. Paris Campbell stays hurt. Mm-hmm. The tight ends I think are fine. I like Jack Doyle. I like Mo Alley Cox. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be very good. There is a path that the offense is just average. But even worst case scenario, the offense is average. I don't see a path that the defense isn't very good.
Which is still good enough for 10 wins.
9.
9 wins?
Worst case scenario is 9 because that stretch from week 3 to week 7 is just awful. It's one of the ugliest stretches of any team schedule in the league. Mm-hmm. And then you come out of that with Tennessee. You get 2 nicer with the Jets and Jacksonville at home, but then you go Buffalo, Tampa Bay, at Houston. Heck. If they can get into the bye week, mm-hmm. which is very late, mm-hmm. if they can get into the bye week at 7-7, 6-7, there we go, math.
Yeah.
If they can get, if they pull into that at 7-6 or better, they'll make the playoffs. If they don't, they won't.
Mm-hmm. Because, again, those last 4 games, New England, Arizona, Las Vegas, Jacksonville, all, in my opinion, winnable games. The Cardinals obviously going to be the toughest matchup of those four. The Indianapolis Colts are in for another good year. And again, they get the freebies. They got 4 freebie wins being in this division.
Yep, those are the Jaguars and the Texans. If you're fans of those teams, you're probably not going to like what we're getting ready to say about your team.
Things don't look good for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, you do have Trevor Lawrence. You have your quarterback of the future. We just don't feel like you have the coach of the future. You went out and got Urban Meyer, and it's been nothing but a circus since then. So here we go. Best worst case scenario for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Best case scenario is that you got the golden arm, you got the golden hair, and you're going to get a bronze finish.
There's no shot they finish better than third in this division.
No.
None. There is no path to that. You are light years behind the first 2 teams in this division. Mm-hmm. I've said this repeatedly. I didn't like the Urban Meyer hire. I still don't like the Urban Meyer hire. I just don't think it's good. I think everything that think about how much of a zoo atmosphere you've had around Jacksonville since he took this job. Mm-hmm. You got pro wrestlers in your office, Tony and Shad Khan just all the time with different shit. The Kadarius Toney thing that I reported on this show, now you got Travis Etienne that you're running out of the slot.
Wait, what was the Kadarius Toney?
They were all in on Kadarius Toney. There's a rumor that when the Giants took Kadarius Toney, that Urban basically shit in his pants and went, "Oh, I need that guy," not realizing that he has that guy named Laviska Shenault. Do you know how many snaps Travis Etienne ever took in the slot or outside at Clemson?
No.
In 3 years.
22.
61.
Oh.
Ever. 61 snaps he took in the slot or outside. This is the thing where a lot of people come back at me and say, "Oh, well, they're just working him out there." He's a running back in the NFL. He's a running back in the NFL that, oh, by the way, had hand problems for about the first 2 years he was at Clemson. Mm-hmm. Was not always the greatest run blocker you've ever seen, and the tape bears that out. So you're going to take this guy who has no real experience in the slot. He was a decent enough receiver. He improved the hand thing at Clemson. He still didn't become a good receiver. And it's all of these things that it strikes me as Urban Meyer thinks he's smarter than he is. Hiring the strength and condition guy from Iowa. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? You got federally deposed by the federal government over that. Nobody with a brain thought that was a good idea, but Urban Meyer did. Mm-hmm. Because Urban Meyer is used to no one telling him no. And he said the draft fucked with him to a point because he's used to getting what he wants. This is one of the problems that happens when college coaches take over teams like this. Now, you want me to say something rosy and rose-colored glasses here?
Yes.
I don't have much, but I can try.
Well, I mean, it's obvious that Trevor Lawrence comes in and he has the weapons. It's the one thing that I do like for Trevor Lawrence. I believe in DJ Chark.
Be really honest, though. Outside of DJ Chark and Laviska Shenault, what do you feel great about?
Well, I mean, obviously, Marvin Jones is considered over the hill.
Jesus Christ, that's a name I've heard one too many times this offseason.
What?
Marvin Jones. He was in one of the past happiest offenses in the NFL. And he would still disappear for 8 weeks at a time. Mm-hmm. He had huge fantasy games, which is why people think he's more of a receiver than he is. He's fine. Mm-hmm. He's nothing to write home about. Mm-hmm. And to me, you're blocking off guys like Colin Johnson, who I think actually has a future in this league.
Okay, look at it this way. We just talked about the Indianapolis Colts. Do you like the Colts receivers better or the Jaguars receivers better?
It's the Jaguars.
Okay.
I mean,
that was just kind of my point. I'm not saying they're great, but I mean, it's better weapons than we've seen a lot of rookie quarterbacks come in the NFL with. So, to me, that's your big high point. The weapons on this team I really, really like. I mean, obviously, I feel like they should have a tight end that's legit. I mean, I've seen Chris Manhertz play for years and don't believe he's anything special. James O'Shaughnessy, okay. It's to the point in your tight end room where you brought in Tim Tebow. So it doesn't really give me a lot of hope for the rest of the crew at tight end. Your offensive line is not good. You shouldn't have given Cam Robinson the franchise tag.
That's still one of the dumbest things anybody's done all year. Mm-hmm. Cam Robinson, excuse me, now you got me doing it. Too much NBA.
Yeah.
Cam Robinson's not a franchise-level player. He's barely a serviceable level left tackle in this league. Mm-hmm. I still like the interior of this line, and I think they're going to be able to run just fine. Mm-hmm. Trevor's going to turn the ball over, and the defense is going to be an absolute fucking sieve. The defense is going to be a sieve. And you're coming up against riddle me this. How do you stop the Tennessee Titans?
If you're the Jacksonville
Pray to
Jaguars.
God they let you play 14 guys at a time. Because I feel the same way about the Titans and the Colts. So that's 4 guaranteed losses, and you're probably going to get shellacked in 3 of them.
Right.
But then I look at, if you want something rose-colored glasses, you play the Texans, you play the Broncos, the Bengals, the Jets, you play the Texans twice, Atlanta. That's pretty much it. That's 5 of the 10 worst teams in the NFL. Mm-hmm. If you can win half of those, you should be happy about that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think you're gonna. I think you're beat. I do think they will beat Houston at least once, might beat them twice. Mm-hmm. If there's no Deshaun Watson, I'll guarantee you they beat them twice. But outside of that, I mean, what exactly am I supposed to be so excited about? Oh, Urban, he's a winner. Yeah, so was Chip Kelly. How'd that work out?
Not too good.
Philadelphia is still recovering from some of the things they did. Now, yes, they won a Super Bowl. It had nothing to do with Chip Kelly. I just don't. I don't buy into Urban Meyer in the least. Mm-hmm. I think you've turned it into the Cons have turned this into a sideshow 3-ring circus. And as a Jets fan, I hate it for Jacksonville because I would love for your team to be good. The loyal fans that they have, I would love for your team to be good. But it's not. And worst case scenario,
yep,
you're Smelly Cat.
Aww.
Smelly Cat. Everybody just keeps on beating you. My fear is that they could have this bad of a schedule and still go 2-15. Mm-hmm.
I think there's a distinct path for it because of the uncertainty about what's to come. I mean, Urban Meyer feels like he's got a plan going into this year, and if he wants to play Travis Etienne in the slot and he thinks it's going to work and everybody can get on board with it, okay. But to me, you've got Travis Etienne. First off, you took Travis Etienne when you have James Robinson. That was a weird move for me in the first place. I get it, maybe you just took Travis because Trevor really wanted him. But James Robinson was the surprise of the NFL season last year. And now he's the forgotten man.
And so that's one of the things that I never understood. One of the pieces that you had was running back. Mm-hmm. I felt like James Robinson was one of the great hits for Jacksonville. And they haven't had a whole hell of a lot of them. Mm-hmm. So your response to that is we're going to go get another running back in the first round. Oh, wait. That doesn't make any sense to me. Mm-hmm. But that's how a lot of this has been for Jacksonville. Do you have pieces I like? Yes. I do still like Miles Jack. I think Josh Allen's a tremendous pass rusher. And I like the inside of the line. I think you'll be able to run. I also think Trevor Lawrence is going to turn the ball over a shitload because he's going to be given the full platter of the Jacksonville Jaguars from Jump Street. Mm-hmm. Always remember Peyton Manning got that too, and he threw 26 interceptions as a rookie. Mm-hmm. I think that's worst case scenario, but I don't think it's far off.
Yeah. I mean, we have already seen underwhelming play for Trevor Lawrence before.
If you told me,
I think people forget about that little stretch that he had in his second year at Clemson.
He threw a lot of picks.
Where he threw a lot of picks.
Threw in the coverage, he trusted his arm too much.
Yeah, first 6 games of the year did not go well. We've seen the ability for him to be, I guess, average.
If you told me definitively he either threw less than 10 picks this year or more than 20, I'd bet my house it's more than 20. I'd bet my house, your house, and both of our cars on it's more than 20 because he's going to turn the ball over. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Wells said in the comment that Indianapolis was 3-13 in Manning's first season. Yep, and that's exactly what you're about to see here. I'll be honest with you. Here's my spicy on the Jaguars. I see a path they don't win a fucking game. I see a path they go 0-17. And would you like me to take you down that path?
Yeah, take me down.
All right, let's be really honest. If Deshaun Watson plays in Houston, they're probably better than you. Yeah. They have a better quarterback than you. They have a better receiver than you, and both of your defenses are less than ideal. Denver, their defense could torment Trevor Lawrence.
Especially with all those additions to the secondary.
I'm going to skip the Arizona, Tennessees, at Seattle, Buffalo, San Francisco, at the Rams. I'm going to skip all the ones that you definitively have no shot of winning.
Right.
At Cincinnati, you got to beat Joe Burrow in his place. I don't love it. Do I think you could win it? Yeah. Would I feel great about betting you to do it? Not really. Then you go through a stretch where I don't see a winnable game for 2 months. All right, you get Atlanta in your place. Could you win that? Yeah, it's outside. How are you going to stop Kyle Pitts? Mm-hmm. How are you going to stop Calvin Ridley? What do you have that makes you think you can beat that?
I got Shaq Griffin and
Shaq Griffin, who's an overpaid, middle-of-the-road corner.
Miles Jack. You going to put Miles Jack on Kyle Pitts?
Have fun with that because he's about 6 inches taller.
Right.
I mean, then you go through another couple of weeks where I don't see a win. Houston again, who we've already talked about. That's the one that I think they win. Mm-hmm. At the Jets in December. Good luck with that. As somebody that's been a Jets fan for a long time, I will tell you right now, the winds swirl in that place in a way that you don't understand until you go into it. So one of my fears with Zach Wilson going into this year is it takes some time to get used to how everything happens in that stadium. And it's going to be 6 degrees. Mm-hmm. For a kid from Georgia who played at Clemson. Okay, then.
And then you get to follow up that with a visit to Foxborough.
Yeah, then you go to Foxborough the day after New Year's. Good luck with all of those things. Because I don't love any of them definitively.
Yeah, I don't. I guess worst case scenario, they could end up 0-17.
I see the path. I don't think they're going to. I think they will beat Houston. But other than that, there's not a lot of wins here.
Right. I think it's going to be terribly impossible for them to, or improbable, I guess I should say, for them to end up 0-17 because I think there's a real shot that Houston ends up 0-17.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If Urban Meyer was the greatest coach on planet Earth ever, if he was Bill Belichick light, the best you could be is 6-11.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the schedule's just brutal. You're not beating any of the teams in the West. Straight up, you're not. You're not beating any team in your division that's not named the Houston Texans. That's 8 losses right there. Mm-hmm. That's 8 losses before I even got deep into the schedule. That's just the divisions you play. So, yeah, that's the best case scenario. Not trying to be all doom and gloom. I hope it works with Urban Meyer. I'll go ahead and tell you it's not gonna.
Yeah.
But, you know, for your sake, I hope it does.
Duval. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. We are in the Wicked Weed studio. WickedWeedBrewing.com. Drink different. Don't forget to subscribe to the Sportsocracy here so you get all of our content throughout football season. Now, last but not least, in the AFC South.
Last and least.
Last and least. That, you are correct about that. The very least team in the NFL is the Houston Texans. I don't see a path for the Houston Texans to win more than 2 games all year long. This team is bad, and Deshaun Watson's not walking back through that door. He's just not. They will come up with whatever they have to keep him off the field. Whether it's striking a deal with the commissioner to put him on the exempt list if they're not able to trade him.
Not happening.
I don't know what is going to happen.
Stop putting that misinformation out there. Not only has it never happened, it can't happen. If there is no criminal prosecution, they cannot put him on the exempt list unless he just rolls over and accepts it. There's no video. There's no definitive act. There's no none of that shit. Deshaun Watson is going to play for someone. It's just a question of who.
I think it's more likely that they find a trade partner at some point. Still, the Philadelphia thing is hanging out there.
Wow, winning.
And Deshaun Watson obviously being on this team, I think it would obviously change things. You can't put a top 5 quarterback on any team in the NFL and say it's not going to make a difference.
Everything
but he was also on this He was also on this team last year and played great, and they won 4 games. So that's not really going to help you a whole lot.
Hey, and you remember that thing I just said about Jacksonville? You got the same thing in Houston. You're not beating any of those teams in the NFC West. None of them. I don't give a damn who plays quarterback in San Francisco. I don't care about any of it. You're not beating any of those teams. You're not beating Indianapolis or Houston or Tennessee either time. That's 8 losses before I even got started real well. And unfortunately for you, you're in a division with a team that was actually shittier than you last year. So your schedule is, it's not god-awful. It ain't good either. Their gift from the NFC, the 17th game, do you know who it was?
No.
Carolina Panthers.
Really?
You ain't winning that game either.
According to this, their strength of schedule is 31, which means it is the second easiest schedule in the NFL.
I don't know where
and
you're
it's
seeing
still not
that.
going to matter.
They're drunk. I mean, they need to go home because they're drunk.
I guess it's
because they're
projected
non-divisional. This is who they take away
Right.
the division you play in the NFC and the teams in your division. This is who you get at the Browns, the Panthers, at the Bills, the Patriots, the Jets, the Chargers, and then obviously the ones that. What game are you winning there?
None of them.
And before you say the Jets, just understand you might have Tyrod Taylor playing quarterback. And just everything on this team is that's why best case scenario for the Texans are on the clock.
Yep. Best case scenario is you're as bad as we think you are, and you have the number 1 pick next year to be able to choose your quarterback or get Kayvon Thibodeau or spend it on what I keep forgetting the corner's name. Stingley.
Derek Stingley
Derek
Jr.
Stingley Jr. That's your path. That's your
Well, I
path.
mean, they're going to need a
righteousness
quarterback
here.
because Deshaun Watson, I don't believe is going to be on this roster.
Oh, they drafted Davis Mills. They don't need anybody else.
Yeah, no. That and a Coke, that and $1 will get you a Coke. So there's that. Best case scenario, you wind up with Sam Howell. The package you get from Philadelphia or whoever else winds up with another couple picks. I will not be shocked if David Culley doesn't. There's 17 games with David Culley as head coach. You clear up all of the nightmare that is around this team. You fire him and you bring in a legitimate coach because I don't think David Culley is one.
Yeah.
I think it really speaks to how dysfunctional your organization is that's the only person that would take your job.
Could you add a new quarterback, get a couple of other pieces, and convince, I don't know, that feller from New England to come take this job?
Josh McDaniels?
Yeah, Nick Caserio's now the GM down there. They've been trying to put Patriots guys in that organization. Could that be a path?
Maybe. I don't know why he would take it. This team is 2 years away from being 2 years away. Tell me what on this roster you actually feel good about. Name one position group. There's not one.
Nope.
Half your roster doesn't belong in the NFL. That's how bad this team is.
Going through the offseason and seeing them rack up, signing after signing after signing after signing, it was all just retread dudes. Just guys that, what the hell are you doing? Obviously, they've got David Johnson from the D-Hop trade.
Well, they
went out and got
running backs.
Right, they went out and got Mark Ingram and Rex Burkhead and Philip Lindsay and your whole. It's just like it's like the replacements. It's like you just went out and went. Have you played in the NFL before? Did we hear your name called 3 times during a season? Yep, come here. You're playing on this team.
I mean, and then you get into the secondary, and it's Vernon Hargraves and Desmond King.
Oh God! Don't.
I mean, it's
Vernon
just,
Hargraves is a
brutal.
cuss word to Tampa Bay fans.
As well it should be. Worst case scenario for the Texans, Houston, you have a problem because you end up let's say you end up beating Jacksonville and you win a couple more of these, and then you wind up right where you were last year, or where you would have been had you not traded your pick.
Right.
You got a pick that's at 4 or 5. Let's say you trade Deshaun Watson and the deal works out and Philadelphia winds up in the playoffs and you wind up with 2 picks in the 20s. And that's what you get off your in a perennial Pro Bowler quarterback.
Right.
There is a path to that, and that's the worst case scenario. I'm going to level, and I'm going to be as nice about this as I can be. How many games could this team win if you wore the rosiest Texan colored glasses humanly possible?
Well, you got both games against Jacksonville.
I don't think you can win them both. I don't think you can go to Jacksonville and beat them. I don't think there's a team in the league that you can go to their building and beat them.
You got the Jets at home.
All right. I don't agree, but I'll give you that
one. I'm stretching
one.
already.
You're at 3.
I know I'm at 3.
That's the best you could be.
I
give you both Jacksonville games and the Jets game, you're still 3-14. And I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell you beat the Jets, and I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell you beat the Jaguars twice. That has gentleman's split written all over it.
Yeah.
You win one at home, we win one at home. That's what that screams to me.
Yeah, I have done a couple of prognostications, and I think twice I have ended up with Jacksonville and Houston both having one win. The bottom of this division is horrendous. And I think that's going to obviously just lift the boat for the top 2 teams in the division, because that's 4 automatic wins for each of them. But when it comes to the rest of your schedule, there aren't a lot of winnable games on there. The Houston Texans have to have everything go right, and I can't even put into words what that means. If everything goes right for this team,
you win 3 games.
Then what are we? But realistically, what are we saying? Tyrod Taylor comes in here and he is what? Serviceable?
No, best case scenario is you find a way to kiss and make up with Deshaun Watson. All of the off-field things go away, and then you have a quarterback, which is the same quarterback you had last year, and you won 4 games. And now the schedule's tougher, and now you have young quarterbacks throughout the division, and by young I mean 30 or younger. And you're just destined to be the worst team in this division. Worst case scenario, it's a scrap everything. Everybody here needs to be fired, and you're not going to be able to replace them. This job was open longer than any job in the NFL. Nobody would even interview with them. Eric Bieniemy, they called. He said no.
Yeah. Because they knew whoever was going to take this job was going to be the fall guy for how it ends up.
Yep.
And that's where David Culley finds himself. It's the Hugh Jackson. He's now the Hugh Jackson of the NFL.
And I think that's an apropos comparison.
Yeah, because he's going to come in. He's thrown on a shit team. He's not going to be able to do anything with it. He's going to maybe win a game or 2, possibly 0, like Hugh Jackson did, and he's fired immediately. And then you move on.
Yep. This division's super easy for me. You got 2 teams that are going to be double-digit wins, 2 teams that are going to be double-digit losses. And I'm not sure that I see that changing anytime in the next 3 years. I don't know if there's anything that could change that in the next 3 years.
I'd say Jacksonville is closer.
Jacksonville's markedly closer.
Jacksonville is closer to making things interesting, but there again, we're going to have to see how the Urban Meyer thing works out.
Yep.
And whether or not he can bring in enough guys and his whole system will work. Remember, he's a genius. We've been told this by him several times. AFC South is very, very cut and dry. And I'm ready for the football season to start.
Me too.
We got training camps starting this week. Wednesday, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys, who are playing in the Hall of Fame game, will get underway. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers as well get going on Friday. And everybody gets going on next Wednesday. So we have actual legitimate football to talk about.
And moving forward, we'll be doing fantasy tees Tuesdays and Thursdays. That way, if you're not a fantasy football person, you still got 3 days of the week. If you are, you just got Tuesday and Thursday. So tomorrow will be our first Fantasy Football Tuesday.
Excellent. We will see you on Fantasy Football Tuesday right here in the Wicked Weed studio. Don't forget to check out our friends at wickedweedbrewing.com Wicked Weed Brewing, drink different. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. Check us out this afternoon on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Locally, you can hear us everywhere around the world, live or on demand on the iHeartRadio app. We'll see you tomorrow at 10.